There are few gaming protagonists as archetypally angry as Kratos, and to be fair to him, the ancient Greek antihero has every reason to be a bit ticked off. Tricked by the god Ares into murdering his own wife and child, Kratos' never-ending desire for revenge has kept him motivated across 3 God of War games and several spin-offs, leaving a trail of slain gods and mortals in his wake. Yet, as fun as these violent adventures were, by the end of the 3rd game, Kratos had killed nearly all the gods in Mount Olympus, and it began to feel like our tortured torturer had finally run out of deities to decimate. Now, after a 5-year absence, the God of War has finally returned, and refreshingly, right from the slow-paced introduction, it's crystal clear that this isn't the same old God of War. Set after the bloody events of God of War 3, Kratos' new journey begins with our aging protagonist laying low. Leaving his homeland to hide in a new frost-coated Nordic land, our hero has spent the last few years living a peaceful life with a new family. Unfortunately though, he can't quite catch a break, and thanks to the sudden death of his new wife and the arrival of some unwelcome visitors, Kratos is forced to finally face the ghosts of his past and figure out how to be a decent father. For a series all about bulging muscles and blood-soaked action, having Kratos tackle fatherhood may sound like a bizarre new direction for God of War to go in. Yet, what could have easily been a character-ruining attempt at shoehorning in an emotional story instead feels like a surprisingly effortless and logical character progression for Kratos. It's not just a chin-stroking narrative device either. Learning to be a father is very much part of the core gameplay experience. Kratos has no choice but to bring his son Atreus with him on this dangerous journey. And while this could have easily felt like a bit of a drag, mercifully, Atreus is no slouch when it comes to combat. Wielding a bow and arrow, he's every bit as competent a warrior as you'd imagine Kratos' son would be. In fact, thanks to his handy ability to distract nearby foes, within no time at all, Kratos Jr. quickly cemented himself as one of our favourite AI companions in gaming. It's a good thing you have Atreus helping you out from a distance too, because in this new look God of War, Kratos' view of the battlefield is far more limited than it used to be. This time around, the camera has been moved claustrophobically close to gaming's most famous anti-hero, with this new over-the-shoulder view putting you literally and figuratively closer to Kratos than ever before. Here, battles feel just as raw and challenging as the wider situation Kratos finds himself in. With age taking its toll on the once unstoppable Greek god, the team has sensibly opted to swap the fast-paced and fluid combat of old for suitably clunky and intense skirmishes. Playing like a mix of Dark Souls and Bayonetta, you'll find yourself constantly dodge-rolling and attempting to parry enemy attacks as you desperately try and chain together those skull-cleaving combos. It's a big change from the God of War of yesteryear, where players could sprint around the battlefield joyously juggling multiple foes in their spinning blades. That's not to say that combat isn't fun here though, it just has a very different cadence to what came before. Once it clicks, the combat here produces arguably some of the most satisfying virtual combat in recent memory. Clocking in at 40 hours, this is easily Kratos' longest outing to date. Where previous entries in the franchise merely saw players sprinting from set piece to over-the-top set piece, there's far more player freedom to be found in this adventure. With a boat required to ferry you and Atreus around, and even the odd side quest waiting to be completed, this is a sandbox world that hides a surprising amount of content. Puzzles are also still a big part of the experience, and while most of them revolve around throwing your axe at things, these welcome distractions actually help to break up the near constant combat. Still, it's the story that's really the star here. In a franchise known for its killer combos and unrelenting brutality, Kratos' latest adventure feels surprisingly heartfelt. Don't worry though, there's still gore and violence here by the corpse load. But this cinematic adventure actually feels far more reminiscent of the father-daughter relationship in The Last of Us, rather than, say, testosterone-soaked Devil May Cry challenger God of War always used to be. In short, God of War is a triumph, let down only by unnecessary mid-game bloat and some disappointingly lazy boss fight repetition. This stunning reboot not only manages to set a new standard for combat and action games, but equally impressively, it adds layers of emotional complexity and depth to one of gaming's most one-dimensional anti-heroes. Trust us, this is one ancient adventure that you won't want to miss.